Okay, so we're a week on since PSOE, the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, registered their new housing bill in Congress. It was registered without notice and, well, that's led to a lot of speculation. I've seen a lot of social media comments which are completely inaccurate, so in this video I want to clear those up. And there's also a couple of very significant developments that have come to light now that the relevant experts and politicians have had a chance to scrutinise the actual text of the bill, so I want to make sure they're clearly explained. I'm then going to shift my focus onto the responses we've seen from across the political parties and try and give an indication of what we can expect to see over, well, the next few weeks. And in the end, I've got an announcement to make, which I hope you're going to welcome. So please stick around to see that. So first up, the myth busting. I've seen a lot of arguments on social media about what is meant by the 100% tax. Regular viewers already know, but viewers who are new to this might not, so please bear with me while I clear it up quickly. Lots of people seem to think that it means that the rate of transfer tax payable when a property is bought will be increased by 100%. So if the transfer tax is 10% in the Valencian community, it would be doubled to 20%. Now, some people are quite adamant about this, and I've seen people being quite abusive and nasty in comments on social media when they're actually completely wrong. The bill explicitly says that the tax will be 100% of the market value of the property. While transfer tax is currently levied individually by the 17 community governments, this tax will be levied nationally. However, the national tax will be reduced to allow for local transfer tax that's been paid. So if a non-resident, non-EU citizen were to buy a property for €250,000 in Valencia, they'll pay 10% transfer tax, €25,000. Then they'll be charged a further €225,000 by the central government, bringing that whole burden up to €250,000, 100% of the value of the property. However, one thing that was in the bill that wasn't expected is that it stipulates that this tax doesn't apply to transactions which are subject to IVA, VAT. Now, this is very significant. The sale of resale properties in Spain is subject to transfer tax, and if the bill passes, will be subject to this 100% total tax. New build sales are subject to IVA, meaning that the 100% tax would only apply to the purchase of second-hand properties, not the purchase of brand new properties bought directly from the developer. Now, when I first read this, I thought it might just be bad wording in the bill, but this has been confirmed by the National Economists Council, the CGE, and they're a pretty indisputable source, and it's been reported in several respectable media outlets, so I'm quite happy to report it. So we know the tax wouldn't apply to new builds. That's the first big insight we have. I explained in my last video that the tax would likely fall foul of the EU's laws on free movements of capital, but we now have a second legal headache for PSOE. Both the CGE and the Hacienda, that's Spain's tax office, believe that this tax would also be classed as confiscatory. Now, I'm not going to go into all the legal detail, but in a nutshell, that means that the tax will be unconstitutional and could be struck down by the national courts. So if passed, the government wouldn't just face legal challenges in Europe, but at home as well. So while PSOE spokespeople are still doing the media rounds and they're banging the drum in favour of this new tax, in practical legal terms, things aren't looking good for that headline-grabbing proposal. But what have the other parties got to say about this? Well, right now, they'll all be busy drafting their official responses and the amendments to the bill. So there's going to be a lot of wranglings and negotiations going on behind closed doors, and official public statements are a bit sparse, but we can get some ideas. To the right, Vox and PP are undoubtedly against the proposal, and several PP regional authorities who, as I said in my last video, don't have a direct say in Congress, are investigating the legality of the tax on those same confiscatory grounds that I just mentioned. I think it's pretty certain that these parties will vote it down, so that's 170 of the 300 seats in Congress against it. The Basque Nationalist Party has expressed the view that these problems should be dealt with at a local level, so they're almost certainly against it, and that's another 7 votes. The left-wing parties, Sumar, who are PSOE's coalition partners, and Podemos have expressed issues with the bill as a whole, but their issues tended to be focused on parts of the bill like tax breaks for landlords, not specifically on the 100% tax rate. The casting votes will likely come down to the smaller regional parties and crucially Junts, the capitalist separatists who often play kingmaker, and they have accused the government of selling smoke. Next week is the crunch time. By Wednesday, the 4th of June, assuming that an exception isn't granted, every party must file its official reaction to the bill. If even one party files a veto before that date, the MPs will vote the following week on whether to scrap the bill and make PSOE rewrite it and start again. If that happens, given the opposition and the legal issues, I think they would be insane to introduce the bill with that 100% tax untouched. If nobody hits stop, the bill moves on to the next round where MPs argue over each amendment one by one. We'll know when they publish their responses what amendments they would be pushing for. Now, I've focused on the 100% tax here, but there are several other measures in the bill, almost all of which are contentious. So if it moves on to that stage, I expect that wrangling is going to continue for quite some time. It would be a miracle if PSOE were to achieve their desired outcome of wrapping this up before the summer recess. So if it doesn't get vetoed, this will probably still be going on in the autumn, if it does even later. I'm going to be addressing all the other relevant parts of the bill, but when we're so close to more information becoming available, I'm going to leave it until I can give you a more comprehensive breakdown. So please like and subscribe if you want to stay in the loop for that. Now, I'm going to be at 30,000 feet on the 4th, and I guarantee that that will be when the news breaks. So I'll try to keep you informed of everything important as and when I can. Those of you who prefer my long form on location videos, you're going to be pleased to hear that I'm going to be on the road for a few weeks filming some hopefully great videos in some pretty unfamiliar locations in Spain. I can't wait to share those with you. So you can expect these current affairs style videos, if I'm making them on the road, to come up with some pretty different backdrops. I'm also in the middle of editing another location video that hopefully I'll be able to put out in the next week or so. Now, to help keep everybody in the loop and to avoid having to make a video every time anything happens, and to try and make interaction a bit easier and more pleasant than it can be in video comments, I've set up a Facebook group. From now on, I'm going to post shorter updates and things I think might be interesting to you in there more regularly, and it will also provide a forum for people to chat amongst themselves. For now, it will be open to all. I might turn it into a membership group in the future. We'll see how that goes, but if you want to join it, just follow the link in the description below. There will be some rules to agree to when you join, not because I want to silence any debate, but just to try and keep things civil and to avoid misunderstandings and misinformation. I really hope I'm going to meet some of you in there, but in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.